early on.
Right, it would be a bit of a shock to have the I-League champion, basically the person who won $40,000 for that tournament, going out 0-2 in this group. But definitely a possibility. I mean, among these streamers, Buer is definitely one of the strongest, having been a champion himself, as we do see the bans. The Priest, once again, banned out from Buer, so he has not been able to play as Priest at all today. I wonder if he's a bit sad about that. And we see that it's going to be the Shaman banned out from Sword. And that's the second time that Buer has banned the Shaman. No, excuse me, he banned Warrior in the first game. My mistake. As we see the original casters back on here. And Montage always adorable with her expressions there. But yeah, going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be Druid, Warlock, and Paladin for Buer versus the Druid, Priest, and Warlock from Sword. So we are going to get to see one Priest at least here coming from Sword.
Yes, definitely, but we don't see many decks from Sword in the first series, so definitely some mystery to be solved, and from Sword, and as we see, kind of unfavorable matchup for him, but this matchup has
Well,
been improving in recent times.
I mean, I feel like it's been close to 50-50 for a long time. I know at least when I was playing at BlizzCon in 2014, which is, you know, a year and 3 months ago, that even at that time it was a pretty even matchup. I think Priest maybe dipped down as far as the Control Priest is concerned. It got a little bit weaker, whereas Drew got a bit stronger. But I think overall it's been a pretty close matchup, and it's definitely still true to this day. But Innervate's definitely what you want to be picking up as the Druid here, going to be severely changing the outcome of this right now. Without that Innervate, he's basically, you know, stuck playing Raven Idol and, you know, trying to find a way to get back onto the board. But if you can get the early board, it's really good for Druid. If not, then the Priest can sometimes lock you out of the game by keeping their minions healthy and, you know, all that good stuff. Museum Curator comes onto the board. Let's see what he picks up. Pretty tough decision between... Actually, okay, he's probably going to play the Deathlord next turn, so no real space to play the Clockwork Gnome. So going to be the Fugan, because he doesn't really have, you know, a fire drop here. Needs to get something on the board ASAP, so it definitely makes sense for him to do that. Looks like it's going to be a spell coming out, and immediately picks up the Innervate, which makes a lot of sense considering he wants to go straight into that fire drop next turn. So looking really good for Buer right now.
Definitely. And so really on the back foot here, Borg can clear this, but
As a couple of ways of clearing, actually, he could go for the Savage Warrior, could go for the Innervate Druid the Claw into charge mode. Obviously, the fear is that if you play something like an Azure Drake, then your opponent just heals up the Deathlord, and, you know, makes it that much harder to kill. And also you don't have the Innervate for your Drake. So he's thinking about how he wants to get rid of this. I imagine he's going to clear this Deathlord right now, which is how he goes about doing it. And it makes a bit of sense for him to go for this way of clearing it. Does get a mini-bot for his trouble, which is very nice here, especially because the Cabal Shadow Priest is not coming out for another couple of turns. Gets a Keeper of the Grove, which is not the greatest, but it's something. It's something at least, right? So no disasters here from Buer, but I think he wanted to get something better out of that.
Star Steel. This is one of the worst results from the Star Steel. Maybe Sword wants to get something.
Yeah, Wild Growth is not the greatest. He will be able to maybe you know, cycle it later. Force Nature is reasonable. It might be another way to remove something. I mean, sometimes you can't you don't really have the ability to clear certain things. You know, Entomb is nice, but maybe you want to save it for a bigger guy. Light Bomb doesn't always kill everything, so it definitely makes sense for him to, you know, or doesn't make sense. Sorry, it definitely is kind of okay for him to have this Force Nature.
Yes, Fugan coming down, and have a choice to make if he wants to attack with that. Zombie shot decide did not to. But I think you played it as a Drake, but you're afraid of the Night Bomb.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're playing the Shredder itself is going to die anyway. So.
He is allowing his mini bot to potentially die to Light Bomb this way. Gonna actually go ahead and take out this Fugan, which means that Light Bomb will be very powerful here. for Sword, and I imagine that's going to be the play almost certainly.
Yeah, I mean, interesting enough. Yeah, you could zombie shower hit the face because you're not
Yeah,
worried.
I don't understand really what he's trying to accomplish here. If he hits the Fugan, he's weak to Holy Nova and Light Bomb. If he hits the Zombie Chow, I mean, what are you really weak against, right? I guess you're weak against a heal and attack in. So he's worried about that sort of thing happening. But now he's traded two guys in the Fugan, and then he's going toward the Zombie Chow. It's kind of weird. So yeah, eventually does hit the Fugan, which is maybe not the greatest. Just a lot of indecision here from Buer, and probably no, we're not going to see. Huh. Oh, okay, we have a clear. It's actually the same thing. So maybe he values his light bomb more. So this is actually the same exact situation, except he misses 2 damage on the face from the zombie chow. And yeah, this force of nature doesn't always get that kind of value, so I can kind of see it. However, I mean, once you clear your opponent's board, are you really going to have a use for light bomb either? Is my question. So, will be interesting to see how that plays out in the future. But yeah, gonna be the museum curator. Wants to pick up something like a 5-drop. He could actually just go for the Valent as well. Picks up maybe Toshly. Both of these options are pretty good. Actually, all these options are pretty good, but interesting to see what he goes for. Doesn't really need the Wild Growth per se, though having an extra mana for the next 3 turns is kind of nice as well. Or next 2 turns, excuse me, because he'll be on 9 if he does go for the Wild Growth.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you don't choose is probably the Mechanic Yeti because giving your opponent something might turn very bad for you. In the end, Toshi is much stronger than the Dark Goddess.
Right.
Bro, I got. Oh,
So goes for a minion because obviously he didn't have any minions in this case. All of these are kind of meh. The brand, I mean, what is there in brand for Druid? There's the Zurdrick, but he's already used one. There's a Dr. Boom, which would be really nice, but that's kind of, you're really hoping to just draw the Dr. Boom at that point. The Ooze doesn't do anything. Then that Pagel could be okay, but you need to take out this Museum Curator first. So what do you go for here? It's almost certainly between that Pagel and Bran, I suppose.
yeah, I guess you pick the.
The funny thing is, both Bran and Pagel are pretty, they're pretty greedy, you know, because the Bran can get stolen by a Cabal or something like that, and you're really hoping to pick up a Zurdrick or Dr. Boom in the future. But I suppose it's power under the board, so that is something.
That is indeed something, and no Cabal. I
No
guess you,
Cabal, so yeah, you could just go for the Toshly here. It is a big body that's difficult for the Druid to deal with. Druid, famously or infamously doesn't really have the greatest of removals. No removal for just taking a minion out, just has to do the damage essentially. And picks up a spare part, get extra health, so yeah, might as well just throw that on there. Makes it so that swipe just can't take it out with the Mad Bomber. You have to use your hero power as well, which is pretty painful. And looks like Buer's considering playing a Temple BGH. Definitely would make sense. There's really no BGH targets unless your opponent entombs your Doctor Boom. So kind of a tough turn here for Buer. He needs to really balance clearing his opponent's board, but also keeping enough damage to be able to finish out the game. Because the longer this goes on, the priest can just play the game of attrition.
yes, that's definitely true. Can kill this Toshi with his hero power and save his Brian, but what's the spare part?
The Whirling
Okay.
Blades, yeah, basically the two worst spare parts there. You want to get something else in that situation. Northshire Cleric comes out. You could actually Northshire Cleric, Light Bomb, and heal your own Northshire Cleric just to draw cards. I mean, you do have 2 Entombs and a Shadow Word Death, so maybe you just start cycling right now and just throw away your Light Bomb. Looks like he's not going to agree and just heal his face and pass. All of these things are
Yeah,
just really awkward. What if you just entomb the Bran? I mean, you have 2 Entombs, right? And you have a Light Bomb as well. So, say your opponent plays, Thorson, you just death it, and they play an Ancient of Lore, you entomb that, and then they play a Doctor Boom, and then you light bomb that. So even if you throw away quote unquote your entomb here, you're still kind of okay for the next few turns. But doesn't go for it, just heals his face. It's a big, sign to Buer that he's holding a lot of removal. Gonna be a couple of living routine in the field. Still on 9 mana is Buer, unfortunately, so he can't go for that wild growth. On the other hand, Sword can go for his wild growth, so there is that. So let's see what happens. Let's see if he picks anything up to change or alter his situation. Does pick up the
Oh,
Cabal, that is absolutely huge for him. And let's see what he goes for. He could actually just heal his face and go for a wild growth. Sword looks a bit concerned here, or just not happy for some reason. Not really sure why. He could just throw down also the Northshire Cleric just as temple card. But yeah, no way for Buer to win, even if he had combo. If he had double combo, it would be lethal, but that's so unlikely for him to have that in hand right now. And Buer just continuing to just plod along, not really getting anything done. Picks up the Ancient of War, but that's going to either get in death or entombed, so it's not the greatest either. Going to actually Force of Nature, which is going to get rid of some of his burst, and this is really looking good for Sword right now.
yeah, so you got all the answers and really
Wow.
nothing. Which
This is just so weak here from Buer. And, unlike playing against Priest and playing Sludge Belcher, if you're the Priest playing against Druid and you have Sludge Belcher, it's actually really hard for your opponent to get rid of. And probably going to be Sludge Belcher plus Harrison here. And that is just a big board. Buer can't play his Ancient of War. It's just going to go away. There's so many options to deal with it. I mean, Thorison doesn't matter. This is just looking so bad for Buer here.
yeah, and I guess you could play Saracen so you can play 3 costs together next turn. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I honestly I wonder why he hasn't played Big Game Hunter, because you need that on the board. Basically, by not playing Big Game Hunter earlier, he was forced to use his Force of Nature. So just a really awkward situation here. No matter what he does, it's going to get removed, and this Thorison doesn't cheapen any combo pieces. I mean, he's wondering what to do here. It's obviously very difficult for him to come up with any sort of decision. But I mean, honestly, sitting in the caster's desk, having a bird's eye view of everyone's cards, I can't see what he could possibly do here. Gonna be a Thorison though. We'll see, how Sword deals with this. Could go with really anything. He could trade his, Harrison, though I doubt he goes for that since he has so much removal in hand. Picks up a Zombie Child, does Sword. I think you just play that on the field, right? Just to make sure, as long as your board stays intact, you're not going to lose this game. So probably going to see something like an Entomb or a Death. Maybe just Entomb because it's more expensive. You can maybe fit in Death at a different turn since it's cheaper. So yeah, probably just go for the Entomb and the Northshire as well as the Zombie Chow, and then heal your face back up, and everything's good, everything's dandy.
yeah, I
And
guess actually you play that here because uh, you
I like the Entomb because it's more expensive, and you don't have anything else to do this turn anyway.
yeah, but the counter argument is that you don't have that many death target, and you Saracen is not useful to yourself if you
Eh.
draw it.
Well,
So
if you entomb the Thorison, then you draw him, and then now your remaining entomb costs 5. So it's pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Anyway, this Druid of the Glass is probably going to get entombed. No reason to hurt your own guys. I guess you could hurt them on purpose to, use Oh, there's a String Master, so maybe he does hurt his own guys just to draw some more cards here. But we'll see what happens. He can actually just take out this Darnassus and then heal that up. Everything's fine for him. In fact, he could Whirling Blades his Zombie Chow and heal that guy up and get more damage to the face. Or you could just do it afterward. Doesn't matter. It's like it's just gonna be heal onto that. Gonna draw some more cards and gets Powered Shield for his troubles. Now the Sludge Belcher is really big. There's only one silence in the entire deck of Buer, and again, this is just looking really bad. Out comes the Ancient of War finally, and this BGH, which has been sitting in hand for forever, that's going to get entombed, and I believe that's game 8, 9, 10, 11 with Holy Nova, and... Oh, he can't entomb in Holy Nova, unfortunately. He can entomb and Whirling Blades, so is that enough? 10, 11, 12. He's 1 damage off lethal, it looks like, but close enough, right?
close, close enough, and
I mean, the point is
Druid
the
doesn't
Druid's
have
never going
any.
to come back on this board, you know? There's nothing, so yeah, that's kind of just going to be conceded out of Buer. He realizes it's over. Going to save us the trouble here. And Sword's going to go 1-0 in this best of 5.
One
That's the power of
indeed.
Priest, right? Priest is actually pretty decent. Bit underrated, honestly. And you see a lot of players bringing it high on the ladder. It's working pretty well there as well. Pretty good time for Hearthstone, honestly. So many decks are just good in this meta, for lack of a better term, right? Everything is competitive right now. And, I mean, if you look at to the summer of 2014, for instance, that summer it was basically Miracle Rogue and Druid, and that was it. Everything was kind of bad. And we've had definitely other metas where, you know, certain decks were on top and, you know, nothing was really competitive. But this is really cool to see everything being strong, even Priest.
Yeah, Priest
Even
and
Priest.
Shaman.
Even Priest and even Shaman. But yeah, going to be Buer. He has Paladin, Warlock, and Druid remaining, whereas Sword has Warlock and Druid remaining. So, kind of exact the same situation as we saw previously, where one player, the two players had the same exact cards, or same exact classes, excuse me, except one player had an extra deck. We are going to see the Zoolock from both players, it seems, and see how this performs here. This is really a snowbally matchup. It used to be that if you didn't have Soulfire, this is when Soulfire was 0 and I was played in Zoo, but it used to be if you didn't have Soulfire early on, to get back into the game, if your opponent, you know, kind of got the tempo lead, then you're kind of stuck. Nowadays, it's the way you get back is to have, you know, huge turns via something like Void Caller, get a huge guy on the board, and just swing the tempo that way. So the matchup is kind of altered a bit, but it can snowball very quickly. Buer was considering playing the Abusive Sergeant on turn 1, but decided against it because he has this egg that he wants to, you know, use, but going to be immediately silenced off. And yeah, I'm going to continue with this game. Probably, we might see the Abusive come out here, actually, instead of the Flamen, because it obviously just dies to the Owl. Few interesting cards here. The Young Priestess is kind of nice as a, you know, attacking minion herself and makes other things harder to deal with. The Argent Squire is pretty reasonable as well. I imagine you don't go for the Worgen because there's, I mean, having it be stealth there doesn't really make too much of a difference from here on out. But yeah, basically
Yeah,
between this Argent and the Young Priestess.
yeah, that's true. I mean, on the square and Priestess were the cards you put in the Zulog decks, but not anymore because you have better means to play with nowadays. Not Worgen. Worgen is never played in Zulog. Anyways, so definitely that could be the choice from Buer there.
Do you silence this Inking Boss? It's so annoying right now. It's kind of
Yeah,
painful to
but
silence this because you're gonna see, you know, things that need to be silenced later on, like the egg and Sword's Hand, or obviously like a Void Collar, which can, you know, prove to be disastrous if it isn't silenced. But I mean, right now this Inking Boss is gonna cause major problems, so it's a pretty difficult situation. Perhaps you just throw both guys in and then you play the Night Juggler plus your two one drops, and then maybe you can snipe off the 1/1s.
yeah, I mean the other option can be that you tap into power whelming since you probably know it, but I'm not going to say it.
So it looks like Buer is going with the option of, I don't know how to deal with this, so I'm just going to silence it in his face. Sounds good, Buer. Sounds good. So, yeah, we see a lot of options here for Sword. He can go for Knife Juggler into, you know, Egg, or Knife Juggler into Hunter Creeper. He can use the Defender of Argus. But it looks like, yeah, he's just going to go with a couple of annoying minions. Not too afraid about his face, it seems. And the next turn he can maybe go for Power Whelming plus the, you know, the Defender of Argus, stuff like that. Void Caller, on the other hand, is absolutely huge here for Buer. And it's going to put that on the table. Only thing that guy can summon right now is Mr. Big Ol' Baddie himself, Mal'Ganis. So just going to dare his opponent essentially to kill it. And he's already seen his opponent use one owl, so not likely to. Wow, he's actually going to pop this egg. This is that would be unexpected. This is interesting. He's gonna pop the egg, which is runs completely counter to what his play was last turn. He got rid of 6 damage to the face, which is pretty valuable. Doomguard comes in the hand of Sword here. He can get, a couple of minions to be Defender of Argus, whether it's by suiciding this Haunted Creeper or just, buffing it up himself. Looks like he's gonna suicide it first, maybe get a knife on this 1/1. And yeah, it's gonna be the Defender of Argus. Let's see what he taunts up here. Going to be the 1/1s to prevent this Void Caller from suiciding himself. There's the Annoytron that we saw earlier. The question is, does he play it on the field?
There's a reason not to, because the trade is pretty bad
well,
now.
I think he just wants to protect this Knife Juggler. As long as this Knife Juggler is on the field, he wants to just protect it right now. So, does Sword read into the fact that the Mal'Ganis has been sitting in Buer's hand for basically the entire game? We'll see. So, Knife Juggler battles here. Let's see how Sword's Knife Juggler does. Hits the other Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler hates Knife Jugglers. This is a fact. Especially when they're both golden. It's basically just a Knife Juggler duel.
That's true. But
gonna get rid of his own Dr. Boom, which is very risky to say the least, but he is going to take the board advantage here. Let's see for how long though, because Mal'Ganis is definitely itching to get on this battlefield.
Yeah, Mal'Ganis is probably coming out for Buer here, and
I mean, Buer, he's
looking.
Yeah, Buer's got to be really happy to see his opponent just throw away Dr. Boom, right?
Yeah, that's true, and that's.
Alright, well, we're probably going to see Buer toss away his Void Caller right now, and then probably tap afterward. We see a Soulfire. That's actually really good right here, because he can discard. I would definitely go for the Soulfire here. It's just so he can just kill off that Doomguard right now. Just kill off your Void Caller, play the Direwolf Alpha, use the Soulfire. You can actually tap afterward. Yeah, I can't see a world in which you wouldn't do this. And actually, this is bad placement for the Direwolf Alpha, because the Mal'Ganis is going to come on the right, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and
well,
I think it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much, but still, it's yeah, that's picks up a Doomguard, does Buer. Unless he picks up a second Doomguard, he's in a fantastic spot. Doomguard comes out of Sword's hand, though. All he has to do is discard, Abusive Sergeant, which is perfectly fine for him. And now he can take out this Mal'Ganis. Let's see how he does it. Looks like he's going to use his smaller minions to do so. I mean, I can definitely see this, right? Because if you throw in your Doomguard, you're throwing away a lot of health, which is not the greatest here. And you can basically just take control of the board, utilizing this Doomguard. So in the end, wow, that is a perfect card. That is a perfect card there. And yeah, Sword doesn't have anything left in his deck other than maybe a Mal'Ganis, but he's not even on 9 mana. This is looking really good for Buer here.
Yeah. Is there anything? I mean, you can play both, but Lothar just got straight into the 5/2 Doomguard.
Do you just go face here? You picked up your own Lothar. Do you just go face here? I think you just go face here. I mean, Lothar can. I mean, the reason why you don't go face is because I mean, the reasons for usually when you don't go face is because your opponent has a good trade. But if you're Sword here, you never make a value trade. You're not trading your Lothar into the Imp King boss for future value, right? Because you're about to die. So yeah, there you go. That's going to be a game, and Buer takes game number 2 and ties up the series 1-1. So yeah, Sword, kind of an unfortunate match there. Going to be Druid Warlock versus Druid Paladin. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he got clear of his two, but not really consequential there because both players have their drill left to win. So
Yeah, basically,
both,
it's going to be up to whether Druid can pick up a win here. And interestingly enough, we're not seeing really any Druid bans because these players are definitely targeting Druid rather than being afraid of it. Buer's Paladin is good against Druid. Obviously, there's a Druid mirror between these guys, possibly in the works. And Sword's Zulog is good against Druid as well. So basically, it's whoever's Druid can win is probably going to win this series.
that's true, but we've seen in the past that Druid can get a win even in an unfavorable matchup, and that's probably what Boris going to achieve, trying to achieve here with the Druid first strategy, and a pretty good
Wow.
start for him as well.
Yeah, other than the Savage Roar, that's actually pretty good. And even Savage Roar, excuse me, can be used for removal. And that is a horrible start for Sword. Oh my goodness. 4, 5, 7 in Zoo? Oh, okay. Well, I guess Abuser Sergeant, but he needs a top deck for the next 3 turns to have a good hand here, which is unfortunate for him. Gonna be Living Roots first. Doesn't want to use the coin here. Does Buer? Definitely makes sense. There's no real way to kill off both these 1/1s, so gonna be a good trade. That's a good card though. Yeah, I don't think you tap here. You just play, just float a mana here, and could be a coin Savage Roar. Yeah, I think Savage Roar is pretty good here. Coin Savage Roar, kill off this guy. Use the other guy to kill the face. And then next turn you can go into Raven Idol plus the Darnassus. And I imagine you go for a spell with Raven Idol. But let's see if Sword can
Mm,
pick up something here. If he has a tap here, it's really bad. Doesn't pick up anything, gets a Loatheb. So he has a pretty good late game. The funny thing here is, Sword has a better late game. Oh, M-King Boss, 1 card too late. Probably going to be a spell. Yep, just go for the spell. Um, The funny thing is, if you had Living Roots already, you could go for Soul of the Forest, which would be pretty nice. But it's either or, right? So Living Roots is kind of nice as a really, really cheap removal, but Starfire replenishes your hand and kills something off. I think I'd be tempted to go greedy and go for the Starfire. But definitely Living Roots is a good option because you're probably going to be picking up some sort of expensive minion. Wait, he's thinking about Soul of the Forest? It looks like we have some Skype issues here. Well, 1 second, guys. While he chooses this. Huh. Alright, well, this is going to be a solo cast for a bit here. Living Roots is picked up, and it definitely makes sense. I mean, you figure you're going to be picking up some minions in the future, so you want to have that flexibility. Um, I'm letting the Skype sounds go, by the way, just because I don't want to. I want to make sure I know when he's back. But yeah, Innervate Doctor Boom's pretty good here. Gonna just trade off the rest of his guys. And how does Sword come back from this? Needs to have some random BGH tech in his deck. Dark Peddler, what could you possibly draw off that? I'm not really sure, but whatever he gets is pretty awkward. Looks like he's gonna go for this route and the M King Boss probably. All these cards are kind of awkward. You might as well go for the Undertaker, which can grow, whereas there's basically no Murlocs in your opponent's deck, or your deck for that matter. Shrink, are you back?
kind of. My Skype is still sending signals to me, but yeah, and I haven't got a screen share back, but Brian is in a really good spot. Actually, the second Raven Idol in his deck as well.
Right. I think you can just start pushing to the face, right? Because honestly, as strange as it sounds, as he does go for the Raven Idol and picks up a Mouser Jouster, which he probably will win, considering the hand of Sword is so expensive. Um, but yeah, I would really like to see him go to the face because he's seen his opponent play off the right side of his hand for so long, and it just probably his hand is really awkward. But I guess you could get in a bit of trouble leaving stuff on the board. Perhaps he thinks his opponents have it. He holds power overwhelmings in hand, and as long as he can kill the minions, he'll still be fine. He still has a lot of damage on board, so I can see where he's coming from here.
Yeah, definitely. And the Undertaker is back, but
Undertaker is kind of back here. So Savage cannot be played. There's the combo, so this is now looking really bad for Sword. Let's see if he gets the... Oh, the Mal'Ganis! The only expensive card left in his deck, and he's able to win. And gonna just be a clear onto this guy here. I think you just hit the face here, right? That's 7 damage. It's so valuable, and
Yeah,
it turns off the tapping, turns off the ability to play things like Flame Imp. And yeah, just such a difficult situation right here. And I think is that game number what here? 5,
I
6,
think
almost
I
game.
think it is. I mean,
Oh, with Hero
even
Power, yeah. So there's 6 with Savage Roar, and then Hero Power is the extra damage. So that is going to be game, and Buer is going to take game number 3 and take a lead in this series, 2-1.
definitely something he's capable of doing here. But I think he's an underrated player, and Swan is really looking bad. He's got one unfavorable matchup, and he got one 50-50, but his luck there proved that maybe he's. I mean, no matter what his form is, but the luck is definitely not on his side at this group stage.
Yeah, I mean, his play has been not been perfect, but he's been reasonable, and he's just getting like the short end of like the the worst end of every single exchange here. Just I mean, in particular that last game. I mean, he mulliganed his entire hand and got back even worse stuff. So just really unfortunate in that situation in a favored matchup, just getting such a bad hand, and really feel for him. Going this next game is going to be Druid versus Paladin. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't go for the Zoo, did Sword, but maybe he's just mad at that deck right now for losing 2 in a row. Going to be the Zoo versus the Druid versus Paladin. Does have Harrison Jones. That's pretty valuable in this matchup. Justicar is kind of nice as well, so looks like it's going to be more of an attrition battle, considering that there's the Aldor in hand for Buer, and just gonna have to. He doesn't have a really fast start, so just gonna have to basically nullify his opponent's minions and stay alive for a while, and then hope this Justicar gets some work in.
Yeah, neither player has the optimal hand for the early game, but Strider is a great pickup. There that Sword can play coin Strider into another Strider into Peptide and Jones, so do some clearing there.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Anyway, but yeah, you definitely can go for that. Coin Shredder into Shredder is very, very good right here. Picks him an Innervate, but doesn't really have a use for it. Now that the Shredder's coming out, what do you do here for Buer? Do you Elder that? Do you Oldhim on your own guy and trade into it?
I think you ultimate your own guy because
yeah,
the
3/4 is usually bigger than 2 drops, and yeah, 3/4 is bigger than 2/2. The Mad Scientist isn't gonna pop anything out here, and probably gonna see second Shredder since nothing was really picked up here, and yeah, there's the Shredder, and Aldo that guy right up. Put a shield and mini bot in the field, and this is what can happen when you're playing Paladin versus Druid. This is why it's considered Paladin favored, because things like this can happen where the Druid stuff gets nullified and the Paladin just keeps playing guys in the field.
Yeah, the swipe is really awkward here because you want to save that for the Master of a Battle that we see Blind has, and
I'm gonna go for the
coin.
Innervate Silent, or excuse me, Sylvanas is actually pretty good here. But yeah, it's going to be met with a Muster for Battle. And, I mean, like you said, there is the swipe. However, there's also a Justicar. So once that happens, it's not going to be that great for Buer here. Do you kill off this Shredder? I think, yeah, it's, well...
It's actually kind of misplay because if the Sylvanas got a 3/2, then it's 3 less damage. So kind of sequence mistake on first.
Yeah, if you were going to hit the face then and you can't kill it anyway, then that definitely makes sense. So yeah, going to be just a clear off on this entire board here. The Shredder's still on the board, but it's not really doing too much damage. So let's see what Buer does here. He might go for a Belcher at a hero power. He might go for just a Justicar. Night Juggler plus Belcher is pretty nice, just to get some power up there. And going to continue hitting the face. So now Sword has the opportunity to play Harrison just to grab a couple cards. Let's see if he does that, or if he decides to be patient, wait for Tyrion. But with nothing else to do, I can definitely see this Harrison coming out. It does contest the Belcher very well as well.
Oh,
Double Wild Growth. That's not really want to be trying at this moment. In fact, we might see him cycle here. But since he's going on that trailer, probably not. Yeah, just going to kill it off. So, for Buer here, what do you do? Justicar plus double hero power is tempting. Tyrion is also very tempting as well. However, your opponent has a pretty good trade with it once they... Well, I guess once you silence it, it's kind of hard to get to it, right? Because the Such Welcher is in the way. But, yeah, it looks like he's going to go for the Justicar instead, which will be... This might be the last time you have the opportunity to go for this, right? And then from here, you can, really get some power on the board with that Quartermaster.
oh, interestingly, he just chose continuously ignore that shredder. I guess you just get.
I think he'll kill it once he can definitely kill the other side of it. Right now, he doesn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a 1/2 that probably what comes out it will be better than the 1/2.
Innervate
Go for
Savage Roar is kind of interesting. I suppose he just wants to kill out this Justicar. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. But there's gonna be 4 1/1s on the board here. Ooh, Minibot's pretty good. So yeah,
Minibot is indeed very good, and this Quartermaster will deal with the ball somewhat and going
Force
to
Nature is
face.
lethal. Force Nature is lethal right now. That's probably the only way he's going to win this game. That's not lethal though. That's going to be a Thorson. It's pretty close. It's cost 6 mana, but I mean, without lethal right here, it's looking pretty bad for Sword. I mean, he has some stuff to continue to compete with the board, but he doesn't have. I mean, it's just looking really good. This hero power is going to basically give so many advantages to Buer, even though he has a smaller hand. He has lay on hand though in the future if he does, have the time to do that. But yeah, what do you do here if you're Sword? I mean, do you start trying to push damage to face? Because I mean, these constant 1/1s is going to cause so many problems.
Yes, I think you push damage to face at this moment because you can play the Thorson, but
I mean,
the
Paladin is
2
notorious.
mana.
Paladin is notorious for having no damage, right? So yeah, I mean, he's going to trade into. I don't really like the trade onto the 2/5, and what is that guy ever going to do, really? Defender comes in the hand of Buer. What do you do here? Tyrion is really tempting, but actually Tyrion is kind of fine, isn't he? Because you can just clear off the Druid Claw and the Ancient Lore on board, and if you use Defender, you're not really doing anything else other than maybe playing the heal bot. I mean, what does Defender even do here, honestly? Yeah, so I do like just playing the Tyrion out. It forces your opponent to play 4 mana to silence it if he does have the Keeper, and then you get the hero power as well. It's just so nice here, and there's no lethal through this either.
Definitely not if you need both the silence and the force of nature savage draw. We should see. Yeah, this is definitely one of the strongest play this for the Druid. No Ashbringer, no favorite trade from that Divine Shield of Tyrion, but
There's still an okay trade. He can trade onto this Thorson. Surfing the Murgledon comes in the hand. Unfortunately, you're replacing your double hero power with a single hero power, which is not the greatest. So likely going to see this Murgledon is just dead. It's just a completely dead card. So you just saw your opponent, discount his stuff. But you do know, however, that there's no force double roar in hand because you saw a roar earlier. So there's no double combo, which is nice. So all you need to do is get out of the range of 1 combo. I think you've seen 2 innervates already. You've seen at least 1 innervate, so you're likely not going to be running into double roar or double force roar, which requires an innervate to pull off even with the discount. What is Buer doing here? I'm confused. I mean, if he doesn't kill off this Thorson with this Tyrion, it takes a lot of effort to kill it off Otherwise, okay, this is pretty reasonable, I suppose. So gonna just take this out, and pretty decent board. Actually gonna play the Murgleton just to have the body on the field. But what do you go for here?
I
Just
think War is pretty reasonable that you just need to survive by this time.
right, just get you out of range. The thing is, though, you have Lay on Hand, so I don't know. I would be tempted to just keep that dude train going. And he has a lot of card draw here for Sword. He's going to be able to replenish his hand pretty well. He is facing a bit of damage on the field, though, so that's something he needs to worry about. Gonna go for both of his wild growths. Gonna cycle a couple cards here just for 2 mana. Kind of nice. And let's see what he gets here. He gets a Wrath, which is pretty good. He can go ahead and use that on the Tyrion, most likely. Just pick up a card here right off the bat. And then from there, maybe use his Thorson. Or not his Thorson, excuse me, his Lotheb. Picks up Force of Nature, which is pretty nice for him. But yeah, Lotheb was actually really good for him. I don't know if he realizes that, but yeah, it locks out this Lay on Hands, which is, you know, pretty frustrating here for Buer. As you can see, kind of he furrowed his brow there. Can actually be the Roar here, interestingly enough. So we're definitely wanting just to get back onto this board here. And now, you know, that Murgleton choice isn't looking too great. He wanted to just, you know, get as much stuff on the board, thinking he had Lay on Hands behind it, but at the moment, I think he'd rather have 2 dudes a turn.
Yes, that's definitely true there. And oh, I thought he was going to play the equality, but not too worried about dying. But that doesn't explain the Murgleton back as well. So.
I mean, now it's looking really good for Sword. He doesn't have any roars left, but he does have, you know, basically board advantage here. I'm gonna take both of these guys out, which means equality is more or less useless. And even after this Lay on Hands, it's gonna be just a ton of damage to face. Equality Consecrate is pretty good though, so. Again, the problem is he's going to Quality Consecrate, which is nice, but then your opponent's playing, you know, more stuff on the next turn. So again, I would much rather have just dudes popping out every single turn here rather than having that warrior hero power.
That's true, and Supreme Murgleton is probably not a dark tag that you want to see. And so we're playing 3 minutes. Here next turn will be 9 attack.
Well, I mean, the bigger story is he has so much tempo, right? I mean, Paladin really relies on just its minions to be able to get back onto the board, unless you have that Call to Consecrate, which has already been used. So now he's going to take a lot of damage, is Buer here, every single turn.
That's the case we are facing now. The Drift Claw can go, yeah. Obviously, if he can go for the charge, I need to go for that.
Right. I mean, you need to kill your opponent pretty quickly here before he gets back into the game, and before he picks up removal. Sludge Belcher is reasonable. We might just see that plus the Owl and the Coghammer. You know, Keeper doesn't really do too much here.
Just get 1 attack off, so yeah. Sludge Belcher into Coghammer into Owl is a reasonable play, and I do like it. Another thing would be make some Murlocs, but I don't think that would do too much to save the board.
I mean, you can Murloc plus Hero Power plus use your Coghammer.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's gonna go for this play, just to clear off that shade right there, and put a bit of a taunt in the way, which means he'll probably be able to kill the Druid of Claw if it's left there. Cyclone's in the hand, which is pretty nice here. I imagine we're just gonna see The living roots come out as a couple 1/1s, plus this hero power, and then swipe onto this Oldemon. Again, you know that the paladin has no burst, so you're able to just use your face here. And then get the extra damage to face. Actually gonna use the Force of Nature. I guess this is okay. Maybe he wants to use. Maybe he feels that swipe is more valuable because it's actually. I mean, as long as your Drake stays alive, it's 5 attack or 5 damage and then 2 damage across everything. I'd be surprised if he didn't play the Living Room. It doesn't actually go for it. Interestingly enough, maybe he wants to save that for direct damage to face. But I believe that's going to be game. Yeah, that's going to be game. Swipe onto the Belcher. He's actually a few over here. Yep, so, I mean, Buer was way ahead in that game, but I felt he gave it away a bit there by, just playing a bit strangely. Obviously, that Murgleton was the biggest play of the game. Having a bunch of 1/1s, over and over and over again is just so valuable.
Yeah, especially you're just giving away a better hero power, upgraded hero power for a starting one.
Exactly. In fact, I mean, I don't really understand the purpose for putting the Murgleton in the deck in the first place. Maybe he wants to play defensively against certain classes. Have a priest or a warrior hero power if you're playing an aggressive deck. Maybe. I guess that has to be it, right?
Yeah, that's probably the only explanation that you want to get some heal, or you can play a mage hero power, which can pick up 1 health minimum more easily if you're playing against something like a hunter. So
Right. Maybe he can play like the fatigue battle or something if he chooses. Uh, I guess you know what also is the case. If you go against Freeze Mage, you can go the Murgleton into Warrior and tank up, and you just basically beat Freeze Mage.
yeah, that's one of the considerations.
In any case, he has a bit of a choice here. He's actually looking at taking the Hunter hero power. That would be really surprising to me. Yeah, I mean, Paladin has no burst, so I don't really. I guess the actual steady shot, the continuous hitting of the opponent wouldn't make sense there, but to just kill them off. But yeah, not going to be the case, and Slime is going to get basically melee done by the Druid hero power. So, we have this matchup. Buer definitely didn't want to be in this position, considering that he was pretty far ahead last turn. Does have this Muster for Battle into the Oldemon, and he has a couple of 5-drops to utilize as well, so still looking pretty good for him. And one benefit of this Druid hero power is that he can, buff it, honestly. He can buff his Light's Justice.
Yeah, let's just you want to attack it, but the hero power give you another one.
Oh, not going to attack.
So
Interesting. So, going to just save all of his charges. He wants to use all of them to basically clear out minions here. Definitely makes sense. He doesn't have any weapons in hand, so you might as well utilize it that way.
yeah, and this is actually the third try of swords.
His Zoo. Yeah,
Well,
this would be very sad if the Zoo just goes 0-3 today. Anyway, on the side of Sword, he does have the power overwhelming to start clearing off some of this board. Looks like he's going to go for the Void Collar. He might actually coin the power overwhelming as well. We'll see what he goes with. I imagine you kind of have to, right? You really need to get back on this board. He's going to go for the power overwhelming here.
yeah, that's definitely true there. How one kill the 4 and proc the death rather of the Hunted Creeper as well.
I do like this play, putting on the Lotheb. I mean, the Sludge Belcher doesn't really contest the Void Collar too well. Doesn't obviously die to it. He wants to kill us off before anything crazy happens. In fact, he just kill it off, and if there's a Mal'Ganis coming out, or even a Doomguard, he can Aldor it, which is nice.
Yes, that's true. And actually, Sword can do something with the knife juggler and kill the Lothar Potentially, but that would be a huge gamble.
I mean, he can just go
Um,
with the Defender of Argus and guaranteed kill it as well. You know what he could do? He could have actually gone, thrown his Void Color in, and then buff the Spider and the Imp King boss as well. But looks like he's going to go for the bluff. And Buer's going to buy the bluff. But yeah, it definitely makes sense. Just kill off that Imp King boss while he still can. And Buer's decision to keep his weapon is actually paying a lot of dividends here. He's able to you know, kill off a lot of these 1-1s that would have been annoying, and he wouldn't have had that opportunity if he did hit the face. So, really good decision earlier in the game. Not just, you know, auto attack, just basically automatically attacking with it, attacking the face, which is what people usually do with Light's Justice, and holding on to it, realizing that his opponent probably doesn't have Harrison Jones or Ooze.
yeah, I mean, Uzi is acceptable if you want to play it, and it's really just has Jones that you're worrying about.
What do you think about this decision to tap here by Sword? I don't think he really needed to tap. I think he needs to start, you know, fighting for board here. So Buer's going to take this out. The Void Color is going to come out of the hand, which he doesn't really need to deal with. He could potentially kill it off, and, you know, Ald or whatever comes out. We do know that nothing's going to come out. But looks like he's instead just going to put the Sludge Bots on the board. Definitely makes sense. It makes it very hard to kill this Lothub. This Lothub could get a good trade later. But what do we see here from Swords? We might actually just see Knife Juggler plus double egg, and just try to snipe off this Lothub. Would be pretty valuable here.
It's true, but once he fails, he has to face Tyrion is in addition to that big kind of big board but has already so but Lothar is not
All
a
right,
thing you want to go to
yeah, here we go. We're gonna see if these knives can hit. It's 1
both
in 3
ways.
chance twice. One of them hits. This was actually pretty likely for that to happen. And we'll see what Buer goes with here. I imagine he just takes out this Knife Juggler. If he kills off the Void Color, a knife maybe comes out anyway. And this allows him to just play it out as Tyrion, which is, you know, pretty good for him. Let's see if Sword can pick up a demon here. Does pick up the Doom Guard. That's absolutely huge. So now we can see, yeah, an Owl as well as a Lotheb, and he's going to get a Doom Guard on the field, which is massive.
Yeah, but the Tyrion is still rather fearsome. You can taunt it up and become 7/7 and get a very favorable trade against Sword's board.
He might
Let me
actually
try
taunt up
now.
something else, actually, just to prevent this guy from dying. So gonna be an Aldor, and yeah, I do like this. Just leave Tyrion alone, because you just have a Knife Juggler. It's actually really hard to kill this Tyrion off unless you have an Implosion or another Knife Juggler or something like that. You can't really get through to it. So now this Tyrion has another good trade in the incoming in the future. Power Overwhelming hits the Hand of Sword. Can he get to this Tyrion is the question. Let's see. No, I don't think so. He needs 3 attacks, and even if he power overwhelming one of his eggs, not gonna be the case. So since he can't get this Tyrion anyway, you might as well play the Doctor Boom. And this is where the 6/1 Tyrion really comes in handy.
Yeah, I think you also need to because you can you actually can't kill any of the minions, so
Wait,
that's
does
really
he have
awful.
lethal here? Hold on. 10, 15. He actually has lethal. Wow. Okay. So, True Silver pickup is pretty nice. It allows you to obviously get 4 damage in. That's going to be 1 damage off over lethal, excuse me. And Buer is going to take this series. It's really long series, and he's waving that True Silver, excuse me, the Consecrate in the air and going to finish off Sword. And Sword, you can see it on his face. He is definitely not happy about that one. Buer is still alive. He is going to advance to the decider match, whereas Sword, the I-League champion, is out of the tournament.